is Win News.
Tonight, a sigh of relief after a difficult day on the Hazelwood fire. More moves to address community concerns. And a leukaemia survivor shares her inspirational story. Good evening, I'm Bruce Roberts. Also tonight, figures reveal the extent of job losses as a result of the DEPI merger. Authorities are breathing a sigh of relief after losing little ground to the Hazelwood fires during today's wind change. Victoria's Fire Services Commissioner, Craig Lapsley, is confident the blaze will be contained by the end of the long weekend.
After chasing a grass fire from the mine last night, strike teams were once again on standby when the wind change hit at 10 o'clock this morning. By midday, the tension was off and authorities were breathing a sigh of relief.
We've had no fires and no escapes from the mine with the wind change, so therefore the threat to the actual power station itself has reduced considerably.
The next few days will be the telling time. We'd like to think that over the weekend we would be able to say this fire is out.
After holding their ground today, authorities remain confident the fire, which has made headlines around the world, will be contained by the end of the long weekend.
I've got no doubt the international eye is on what's happening in Morwell. We've got interest from right across the world about brown coal firefighting, particularly in open cuts.
The focus over the past 4 days has been on the northern batters.
It's the part of the mine that puts up the most smoke over the community. It's the part of the mine that puts up the most ash over the community.
The fire is now 85% less than what it was at the peak. So that's great news for the people of Morwell. And
for firefighters who are into a fourth week at the coalface.
It's hot, the entire wall is made of coal, the entire wall has been on fire, so you get a lot of heat. The smoke's pretty harsh.
But mother of two, Emma Conway, says she's not worried about her health.
I'm a breastfeeding mum, so I take the health warning seriously, but my levels are still zeros.
While conceding there are some resourcing concerns heading into the long weekend, authorities maintain morale on the fire ground is good. Despite the smoke and its impact on the community, firefighters say they're feeling the love.
Absolutely. Look, we're a bit of a sheltered workshop in here. We're very much focused on what we're doing. However, it is very obvious how what we're doing affects the people outside the mine. There's banners all over town going, "Thank you, CFA."
There are 28 staff tasked with feeding the firefighters, who are consuming an average of 1.5 tons of food each day.
We're pumping out probably about 1,500 meals a day. We're averaging 450 each meal time, and then we're doing 200 to 200 overnight as well.
Once the fire's contained, the focus will shift to the clean-up. A plan is currently being developed for Morwell.
To understand what is the clean-up of streets, of recreation areas, how do we support individual households to get the right equipment and support to clean up.
Brooke Van Newton, Win News.
Meanwhile, Churchill residents have been reassured they're not exposed to the poor air quality that's affecting Morwell South. But Federation University says its staff and students will have access to extra assistance if needed.
While not completely spared the valley's health crisis, Churchill has escaped the worst of the smoke haze, and residents don't seem too worried.
So far hasn't been so bad. I have seen the smoke has been rather bad coming through Morwell when you're on the way to Melbourne or back.
At school and stuff it's pretty bad, but not where we live. It's pretty good.
Today authorities briefed the community and staff and students of Federation University.
There was a couple of concerned residents in Churchill talking about the monitoring and the effects of smoke in this particular area, and they've been reassured through the EPA that Churchill has been monitored and it's well below the threshold levels.
Federation Uni has its own system set up to monitor the air quality, manned by its own staff, and it says generally the levels have been far lower than those that in Morwell have triggered health warnings.
Except for one day when there was the scrub fires at Hazelwood and it coincided with a north wind, so our figures just spiked, but it was so temporary within a specified time that there was no long-term effects.
Federation Uni says it will do what it can to help those affected, especially people who live in Morwell.
The university has made provision for students affected by this, so there's a whole special consideration measures and that and other supports in place.
The state opposition wants the same guarantee for students at Gibbs TAFE.
It's really up to the government to make sure that no student who's had to leave or has had their start of their education disrupted either misses out financially or academically.
Tom Kelly, Win News.
Firefighters are now confident they'll have the Morwell mine fire under control by early next week. They say they've now reduced the size of the blaze by 85%. The fire briefly flared again last night, burning grassland near the power plant.
It tells you about the dynamics of this mine. It's not just about the open cut itself.
But despite fears, this morning's wind change didn't make matters worse. Hundreds of firefighters have spent 25 days and nights at Morwell. They're hoping they're now on the home stretch.
Fire crews have dramatically reduced the size of the Hazelwood coal mine fire, which has been burning for almost a month. A wind change this morning threatened to fan flames and spark grass fires, but conditions have now eased. Firefighters have managed to control 85% of the blaze, which has shrouded Morwell in thick smoke and ash.
We're not there, but we're close. And so to Morwell residents, stick with us. The next few days will tell the story of when this fire will actually be out.
Fire authorities are hopeful the blaze will be contained by the end of the long weekend.
Success or smokescreen? The CFA claims it's finally gaining control at the Hazelwood mine.
But I don't know when we're going to get back to our house.
There's relief in sight for Morwell residents, with authorities now saying they expect their smoky ordeal will be over by Monday. Firefighters claim they're finally winning the battle against the open-cut mine blaze that has been burning for weeks. Michael Bennett has the story.
A bird's-eye view of the Hazelwood mine fire, taken by a specially designed CFA drone. The vision shows the extent of the huge operation as firefighters battle the blaze that's now been burning for almost a month. Infrared cameras also captured the glowing hotspots throughout the open-cut mine. But there was some good news today, as a feared wind change failed to spark any new blazes.
The threat to the actual power station itself has reduced considerably.
Authorities say they have the upper hand on the fire, which is now 25% of the size it was at its peak.
It's been about big trucks, little trucks, it's been about aerial appliances and helicopters, it's been about people on the ground with hose lines.
Minister Kim Wells also revealed police are closing in on the arsonist responsible.
They are following up several leads that have been provided by the community, which we are extremely grateful for.
And now the blame game begins, with a government inquiry into whether the mine operators were fully prepared. Locals say they just want their ordeal to end.
It makes me feel angry because I don't want to be sick.
Everyone just wants the fire to be gone.
Come Monday, their lives may begin to return to normal.
Michael Bennett joins us from Morwell. Michael, is there a sense of relief in the town?
Stephen, there certainly is, but we've been assured that the fight isn't over yet. Authorities are now into their 24th day fighting this blaze, and there's no sign that they're scaling down the massive operation just yet. In fact, in the last 24 hours, extra fire trucks and 2 additional firefighting helicopters have been put on standby to combat a wind change or any danger that's sparked by a wind change that hit here earlier today and isn't expected to drop until 6 o'clock tonight. Now, that wind change hasn't sparked any new fires, but it has pushed smoke back across Morwell. The EPA says that visibility in Morwell is now less than 10 kilometres, and that's eaten at the respite that residents have had from the smoke in the past few days. But Stephen, there is certainly an end in sight. Locals here are hanging their hopes on the fact that this fire may be put out once and for all come Monday.
Michael Bennett in Morwell.